All right, thank you so much. The program is still much alive here and independent television. I did say that we're going to be looking at xenophobic attack in South Africa. Now, in the English lexicon, it becomes very difficult to describe a situation, most especially when you tend to have different meanings that can be ascribed to the situation. Now, what is going on in South Africa seems to be what some may call extreme civil criminality. That's on one side. Why some say that is a clear case of xenophobic attack. Some say that no, it's a clear case of Afrophobic attack, because Afrophobic attack this time that it is only African nationals that are being, foreign African nationals that are being attacked on a daily basis. And that just go for those that believe that is a clear case of Afrophobic attack. Well, to look at all this today, we are so privileged to have a human rights activist here with us and also a political and public affairs analyst, one-time chairman of Ego Local Government Council, and also one-time vice chairman of Ego Local Government Council, Honorable Desmond Obosai. Welcome to this program this morning on TV.
Thank you.
Patrick Iholo, Ultimate Equal, human rights activist. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Now, I had to bring him because he's been in South Africa so many times and he understands the situation there. Now, just like what I said, gentlemen, it's kind of difficult to really describe what is going on in South Africa today. Some say that, no, it is not xenophobic, it is Afrophobic. Some say that it's just extreme case of civil rights criminality. Now, I'll start with you, Honorable Desmond Obo. How can you really describe what is going on in South Africa?
Thank you. Well, this xenophobic attacks has gone way back to over a decade now, or about 5 years or more. Reasons being that there are cases of the failure on the part of government to provide the needed infrastructures and so-called to curtail this issue of unemployment, joblessness, poverty, increasing rate of poverty, disparity between the rich and the poor. There is now a class of the bourgeois and the proletariat. All these are grand factors that contributed to this xenophobic attack. Ordinarily, on the part of the South Africans, it appears that they have lost focus or memories, so to speak, on how Nigerians and every other African countries came together where they needed, when they needed their support most. Xenophobic attack is emanating from what I call stark greed on the part of South Africans, laziness, jealousy, because there is no country on earth that can live in isolation without depending on other countries for survival in some areas.
Now, Desmond Obo, do you really think it's a clear case of xenophobic? Because the reports we are getting...
It is, considering the countries that are involved.
Yeah.
It is not targeted at Africa alone. It is not targeted at Africa alone, I repeat. Pakistani shop, they have a grocery shop in Julius.
Pakistan?
Yes.
Okay.
Where it all started. It started in Julius, in Newburgh, in Johannesburg. He knows this, that the foreigners who have big shops like we have in this country decide to poison some of those goods. There was a case in Jester where about 30 people died of food poisoning. So the reason is because each time they break into those big shops, a supermarket of a sort, what they do is to make away with those their wares, an indication that they are doing it for reason that they are hungry. But however, there are cases where human beings are killed, and those are the people that dare to resist them. Then the tacit connivance of Zimbabweans in South Africa is another thing. The South Africa culture, the only set of people that can hold arms, that have the heart to do that, is the Zulu. Others can do it. So we begin to see cases where Nigerians, for example, at the beginning, were hiring Zimbabweans to go and carry out assassin for them. We have seen cases where other nationals have come together to organize an attack against other foreigners. who both of them have done business together. But the truth is that, is it befitting of Africa? Does it supposed to start from South Africa that the Africans have stood up for when they needed freedom during the apartheid regime? We saw how Tafawa Balewa supported the ANC army, the army wing, with even military. And at the time in this country, $5 million were being donated in support of South Africa to fight against anti-apartheid. And here we are. The same South Africa has failed to realize that together, Africa rose to defend them from the hands of the apartheid regime, from oppression, from injustice and all what have you. And today, they have just forgotten all that the Africans have done for them. This is not about Nigeria alone. Yes, there are cases where Nigerians' shops have been attacked, where Nigerians have been attacked and murdered. There are cases where the Somalian, I overheard the Somalian activist calling all the Africans together to say that they should rise up and defend themselves.
Okay, now let me come to Patrick Iholo now. Now, you have lived in South Africa. You probably understand how an average South African, how he behaves, so to say. Now, the present situation now, like what happened on Sunday in Johannesburg, many people have begun to ascribe so many reasons for it. Some say it's probably due to inciting statements, like the one that is said to have been made by former Deputy Chief of the South African Police, and you know, also one made by a former minister. Now, what do you think the South Africans are reacting to?
Well, you know, I'm not in their mind. I can't really tell you what they're relating to, but I want to support a lot of what the Honorable have said, my brother, my friend, Ubo. The issue is that something I wonder if we, as black people, if we fall off the truck during the creation of human creation. So sometimes I wonder, as people who love God very well, who believes in religion very well, if we were actually created by God. You know, sometimes I felt that we fall off the trucks because of the way we reasoned, you know. Having said that, people are not taught to love. People are taught to hate. It still go back to over 100 years ago, how the white people have really enslaved us. The average black person thinks white person is God. So if you look at what is going on today, there's the voice of Esau. What is going on? So the white colonial master are still playing their games, but
I don't understand what you mean.
Stupidly, I'm telling you, you know, this is bigger than what you are saying. This is smoke in the screen. You're not seeing all. You see, when you talk about majority, and if majority wins the votes in a civilized country, it means that it's the end of the white man to rule over South Africa again.
Are you trying to say that the white minority in South Africa probably
it's not about blame. This is chaos they've caused. Because we black have not known ourselves. And we will never know ourselves, unfortunately. So they are behind this. Now, if you are saying that, I'm not saying Nigerians now because Ugo has emphasized on it that this is not just peculiar about Nigerians. Other nationalities, black nationalities, also been attacked. People that have been spared from this attack, as the white South African, who are white Italians, who are white Germans, who are white Dutch, white people from the Cayman Islands, or white people from Dublin and all that. They're not attacked. And these are the people who run the economy. They own the land. A black man don't own the land in South Africa. I have a house in South Africa, but I don't have a farmland. I don't have a gold mine. I don't have a bank that I operate in South Africa. So the economic power is to the white people.
But they are in the minority.
They are the minority, but they're the one that rule behind the scene. So they are the one who is causing this chaos. However, because we are collectively stupid as black people.
No, but I would like to say that.
I'm telling you, you wait, I'm coming there, you wait now. You wait. I take you back.
I'm not going to let
I said they are collectively stupid.
Nobody.
They are listening to this. You're not getting me.
I know, but
even those who are, listen to me, please.
I know, but
even the former South African president started this. The commissioner of police in South Africa they find it that the blacks are a problem, that they've taken over 80% of their job. We didn't take their job, we created more job for them. They said we've taken their women. They are docile people, very lazy people. We didn't take their women. The women opted to us because we are caring and very hard working people. And the only reason they are doing what they are doing, they're getting away with murder now, is because we do not have a government who represents us. When you have what they call diplomatic office, if you work there or you run in there and take a political asylum, nobody touches you.
Yeah, Patrick, if you say we don't have a government that represents us, just yesterday, President Muhammad Buhari has sent a special envoy.
Okay, now as he said in the special envoy, the same day, as small as Rwanda, the population is like New Benin Market. They've already canceled their diplomatic relationship with South Africa. As small as Zimbabwe, they've already canceled the match tournament that was supposed to go on between the two countries to tell them that we are not with you on this. We are going to punish you severely if you touch our citizens. Who is representing us? But I tell you something. If they had run over some cows and shot some cow, maybe Buhari would have reacted.
All right, now, Desmond, let me come to you one more time. Different ways to actually explain what is going on. We have
laugh when he wants to laugh, but because this is not, they're not talking cow, they are talking animal.
It's very emotional.
That's not the issue.
It's very emotional. The most serious
the president has sent an envoy to mediate. But however, the president should go beyond that. This is more than a country-to-country affair now. He is an African leader. He should rise up to the challenge by reaching out to all other African countries who are equally involved in these xenophobic attacks. And the gross xenophobic statements from the authority of South Africa, it's not helping matter. Yes! And you see, even early this year during the electionary campaign, somewhere in South Africa, the opposition party now who is contesting for election has promised to tighten the border against immigrants, and has also threatened fire and brimstone that the immigrants in South Africa will be properly cut to size. And the current president Ramaphosa is not also helping matter. He should come out with a decisive statement. He should come out clearly. How do you see this xenophobic attack? When you say decisive, are you happy with it?
Desmond, when you say decisive statement now, Cyril Ramaphosa 2 days ago actually gave a statement.
This is not that. This is not a sporadic attack, as you can see. This is a premeditated.
Very premeditated, not sporadic.
Because you see what is happening, the rate it's happening, the way and manner the police just watch helplessly. Ordinarily, police are saddled with the responsibility of protecting of lives and property. Police are part of it. And if they are present, they are seeing properties are being damaged, and they are watching, looking at Kimbo. In Nigeria, only yesterday, you see the reprisal attack. It just rightly mentioned that about 8% of the total South Africans, they control the over 80% economy.
Yes.
The ShopRite, Stanbic, MTN, MultiChoice, DSTV,
yes,
they are owned by the white minority.
Over 129.
If at all it is condemnable that Nigeria shouldn't go there and attack them in reprisal.
No, you can't. We're not going to support that.
Excuse me.
We're not going to support that.
He didn't say that.
I am saying, even though it is condemnable that the manner at which Nigerians are attacking in reprisal to what happened to their fellow brothers, it is good that we tell ourselves the truth. That if you allow a child to constantly see you naked, one day we ask you to bring your testicles for a football play. The manner, if we call ourselves Nigeria the giant of Africa, we must also be seen as being giants in diplomacy, in taking action, and in reacting to issues. Before now, are we sure that our Nigerian authority or rather the ambassador to South Africa, know the numbers of Nigerians that are resident in South Africa? No, we don't have such data. Proactiveness is what a government with the right senses should also do, not reaction like this.
All right, Patrick, hold on.
Yes.
Now, the thing is this, because we should be able to look at this whole issue in a very credible manner, no matter how emotions are. Now, we've actually seen some group of professionals, Nigerian professionals in South Africa, that they are living their normal daily life. They are not being attacked. Nobody goes to them, because they've been able to prove themselves worthy of what kind of employment they are enjoying in South Africa.
That is not the truth.
Now, what I'm saying here is that it appears that these attacks is more on Nigerians that are really not doing legal businesses.
I don't want to agree with that because
drug peddlers.
No, I don't want to agree with that. Listen, I know we're on national or local TV.
I know, but these are some of the allegations.
No, it's coming back. No, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
because I mean, the saw a fella, my friend, rest in peace. He said this is the only country that says their citizens is stupid, their citizens are criminal. No one says that.
Yeah, but we have some.
But every country have their criminal of their own. Every country have their criminal of their own. You know that they have executive criminals. What about the people that work in share? Who polluted the Golinad? What about the sheriff and all that? The Americans have their criminal in your soul. The British have their criminals. Okay? The Canadians have them here. I'm a Canadian citizen. They are criminals in every country, but you don't have right to take any life. Okay? You don't have right to take any life. That is why people say that you must be proven guilty by a competent court of law before you can be called a criminal. Okay, so do not say that they are attacking those who are doing illegal business. What is illegal business? What is the white people doing here in my country, polluting Ogoni land? What are they doing here? Saffroning money. What are they doing here? Laundering money. So don't use that word.
But you can't
every human life has value.
You don't have proof
now,
to that.
You wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think the government should wake up. I think I regretted voting for President Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, that's
it's
your
my
opinion.
fault. But I said I regretted voting for him. I didn't say it was your opinion. It's my fault. Because I couldn't have voted for a president like this who cannot represent his citizens abroad.
But
now, Ugo just said to you now that
Patrick,
we don't even know.
Patrick, I will let you say that.
No, you will let me say it because you're afraid of the NBC. They will revoke your license.
I'm not afraid of any
What did I say? What did I say that is not factual here?
We talk about not representing.
Yeah, it's not representing.
The president has
Who did you represent? Who did you represent? Who did you represent when you allowed your citizen being slaughtered in the... Listen, you kill one American, you kill everybody. We are human beings. The Americans don't have blue blood. They have red blood like you. Because it's an organized society who has value for their citizen. That's why American will come to anywhere. Say, where are you from? He won't tell you he's from Anambra State or Imo State. He will say, I'm an American. Unlike us here, we will say, I am a Fulani Hausa or I'm a Doma or Iboma. Until we are together and united for a purpose, this is going to continue. But let me say one thing categorically now, that if the South Africa do not come out with quick apology and restrain their people from attacking us, they will suffer it. They have over 129 businesses here.
Yeah, but,
okay, and the student union have also issued an ultimatum to them for 7 days to pack their belongings and leave Nigeria.
Yeah, but
they should stop killing us.
Yeah, Patrick, I want you
Yes.
to know something, and perhaps other Nigerians watching out there. Now, you talk about ShopRite, you talk about MTN. More than 90% of people working in these places are Nigerians.
Listen.
So when you say you want
But it's time for the politicians who stole our money to bring their money back home and also invest in that area. We don't need them. They are exploiting us. We don't need them. They are exploiting us.
No country can live in isolation.
No.
You can't produce all that you want as a nation.
And even you produce, you can't buy all.
That is the reason
You can't
why
consume.
we depend on each other in different ways. But let me quickly just disabuse his mind. The president is representing us. That is the reason why.
Is it an APC man?
That is why he's
Is it an APC man?
That's not the
Maybe
issue.
you should be an APC man.
That's not the issue.
That's what you're saying there.
as a
not the
government.
issue.
Excuse me. As a
Patrick,
government.
that's not the issue.
But it should be the issue because you have a lot of extradition killing here.
But for you to say the president is not...
No, it's not doing anything. No apology. And I regretted voting for him.
Patrick, whether you like it or not, you drove all the way from your house to this place.
There is too many that have died. Nobody attacked me. Nobody attacked me. I was lucky to be alive today.
No, you can't say so.
Do you know how many people died in Nigeria every day? Do you know how many People the herdsmen have killed every day. Do you know how many people who are afraid to travel Benin Lagos Road today because of herdsmen? That is why if we are killed here. But no, it's not. But it's all the fault of the presidency.
Let us deal with the subject matter.
No, we are, because he's saying that. No, it's not about insulation, because the president have not represent a citizen.
Okay,
that's entitled to your opinion. In my own opinion, I know that the government has tried in its representation. Now he has sent a delegation to meet the South African government. That is the right step in the right direction.
But you also said
what he ought to have done,
just hold on here.
in addition to what he has done, is to go further to AU, the African Union, and I encourage all other nationalities who are there to also generate petitions to the African Union with a view to now placing a regional or an African sanction against such act. Is barbaric. A situation where Africans are being attacking themselves. What do you now expect of other nationality, especially those in the advanced countries,
you are very right,
to see us to look like? So I think that is what you be telling the government.
You are very right.
Not condemning what they have done. They have
not done anything.
But again,
they have not done anything. But you are giving, you are profiling a solution to them now. If they are hurt to what you are doing, they have done something. But they have not done anything.
Should continue to tell the government.
Yeah, this one to go. Now, let me just tell you what some Nigerians probably don't, areas they are really not okay with the position of the president. Now, they are saying that the special envoy that has been sent to South Africa are going to meet on Thursday, which is tomorrow. Yeah. Now, this whole thing started on Sunday, and it's been, every day it's been being reported that there are attacks and all that. Now, also that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Andrew Yema, you know, is supposed to meet the High Commissioner to South Africa same Thursday. For some Nigerians, I mean, it's too long of a time. We're talking about a decisive action, not something that you do Thursday, 2 days.
That is our system, like I said.
So do you think we need this kind of bureaucracy at this time?
We have entered the bus. We must ensure that the bus takes us to the terminal before we decide either to follow the bus or to change the bus. That is the situation we are in as a country. If you understand what I'm saying, is that the crop of leaders that we have, they are not proactive enough. I talked about having a data of the numbers of Nigerians that are there. The reason why you see United States of America being very proactive and very reactive to issues is because they have the data right at their beck and call.
When you say
how many Nigerians are there watching or taking care of the welfare of Nigerians in South Africa, apart from just the embassy?
We have the National Union of Nigerian
all these are self-serving union, and they don't even allow them to try. There are several legal bottlenecks that make them to exercise their right as a union. Before you know it, they will be gashed and also term their activities as being anti-government.
If I can come here.
Just hold on. Yeah.
If I can come here.
Just Patrick, just hold
so
on.
That is the reason why some of the union, like you have mentioned, the governor of Edo State, Obaseki, is right in the United States of America attending a national convention of the Edos. How many of those things have we witnessed being the outcome of such convention, previous conventions in time past? Every year you see Benin nations converging in either United States, either United Kingdom or Canada. All the discussions will be exercised in futility. Nothing meaningful has come in form of the outcome of such convention. Have they come to intervene in the areas of education by assisting government to build schools, improve on the standard of learning conditions there? Have they come in the area of road? Have they come in the area of health? Which area have they now assisted government and affect the common man? The reason why the majority of those people making statements that are not even in tandem with what is happening on ground here in this country is because what they see on television are edited copies of the actual reality on ground. And we that are here, we know where the truth, we know where it pains. Each time we talk on television like this, those in authority should listen to some of those messages we are passing across. That is the reason why we try as much as possible to be unbiased when we are analyzing the issue, as it were. I think the government have taken a step, but the rate at which they take steps and actions come out is the problem we are having here. We need youth. Sometimes in the line of agitating for you to come into the corridor of power, The youth themselves have betrayed us. Those that find themselves in the corridor of power, instead of being humane, coming out with integrity, that started with our forefathers, our nationalist leaders, like the likes of Nnamdi Azikiwe. They have betrayed that. We saw Dino Melaye, who is very outspoken at a time in this country. He started now flaunting his affluence. And we saw the likes of Sowore recently, and the way and manner they are unguided has made us to lost hope in the youth themselves. So our country, Nigeria, should call all the African leaders that are worth hit in this xenophobic attack. And they should also now call on the president of South Africa, Ramaphosa, to shoot his sword and be guided with his statement. All their statements are laden with hatred and greed. How would they be accusing African nationalities who are there that they have come to dominate their economy? That is a statement of a lazy man. Where were you when others were coming to better your lot? Okay. Economically, South Africa is one of the best countries in Africa.
Yeah, now
and yet they are there chasing terrorists. I think it's affecting the economy of South Africa gradually. Because tourists are no longer finding South Africa attractive. You talked about where are the rich men? Where are those in high-broad area are not affected? That is the reason why the civil rights organization sponsored a bill, they call South Africa Bill for Human Rights. Okay. Where they were asking that they should have the legal empowerment to also acquire a security. They should be secure, their businesses should be secure. Okay, now and in as much as all these are happening, we are seeing that no single human being has been arrested.
All right, Desmond, we'll just before we continue.
A statement that suggests that the president, the government,
yeah, Desmond,
tacit connivance.
Well, Desmond, before we continue, so that I can come to Patrick Eholo, let me just let you know some of the data that we have, though unconfirmed data. About the amount of people that have been affected so far. We are told that data reveals about a total number of 127 Nigerians have been killed in 3 years. And while 13 out of these were reportedly killed by South African police, the most disturbing of these killings are the extrajudicial killings by the operatives of South African Police Service. And of course, from January to June 2019, 10 Nigerians have been killed either by citizens of South Africans or South African police. Now, among these citizens, it's the insurance lady that was killed recently, and that was very, very touching. Talking about, that was on June 14, 2019. Maxwell Ikechukwu Okoye was reportedly killed by South African police officers who at about 1 p.m. hour on Friday, June 14th, they killed her and invaded the house in her where she was staying. Now, Patrick Eholo, we're talking about decisive, steps to be taken by both countries now, South African authorities and Nigerian authorities. Now, what are these decisive steps one more time?
Well, before we go to decisiveness, let me go back to my brother again, because, like I said before, it's not a political issue. This is a national issue. I said the president have not helped issue. And then he defended the president, which is okay by me. And he also said that we should focus and remain on the issue. And then he also said that those who are working for the president are not proactive. If you are not proactive, will the owner of this institution retain you?
Certainly not.
Okay, so then in that case, it falls back again on the president. And then when you talk about extrajudicial killing, it happens here every other day. The police kill here every other day.
But that's not the focus here now.
No, I'm not saying that's the focus. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about extrajudicial. You just mentioned that among the 120 people
in South Africa, not in
Nigeria. In South Africa, I'm going to somewhere with this, okay? Yeah. If you have people who are not proactive, how would they help you succeed in your government? So part of that, he has to take the bulk of the blame. He has to be proactive so that his minister and those who is appointing will also be proactive. If the minister of international or foreign affairs is proactive, you cannot wait in Thursday where the heat is on. Don't forget that in Lagos yesterday, in Jakode, some Nigerians have already taken the laws into their hands.
Yeah, but we're not
No, but I'm just saying that we're not talking about South Africa.
Yeah, I just want us to
but
be
if we can condemn their actions, and their presidents or their commissioner or their ministers of also international affairs can also come out to apologize that this is not deliberate. It's some blame it on some miscreant. If you want to do that, it's a little bit comforting for us to restrain ourselves. This is not the time you will be sending people to go and have some dialogue of meeting when people have been slaughtered every day. That's why I come back to the issue that if cows were being slaughtered, maybe the president would have taken this issue.
Yeah, but we're not talking about cows now.
But that's not, you're not the one getting it.
I understand. I just want us not to derail.
It's not derail. It's an emphasis.
Let us stay focused.
Listen, I'm buttressing what I'm saying.
Because you may not even have the proof whether a certain time where cows were slaughtered and the president reacted. You don't.
Okay, but
you don't have to say that.
But we've seen a situation. We've seen a situation where very recently an American in Europe, I believe he was in Denmark. I'm sure we'll be aware of this. He's a rapper, okay? And there was an issue when he went to a concert, and he defended himself, not by gun, but they arrested him, and they want to try him. And the next day, Donald Trump, whatever you think about him, whether he hate the blacks or not, took a plane there to bring back his American citizen home. That's what I thought. That's what I call good governance. That's what I say, the man that had the strength, the man that had the power. We call ourselves the giant of Africa. And you see our children being slaughtered every day, and we are going for dialogue. I'm not saying we should go out and start shooting guns or start fighting, but it's time for us to tell the South African people, pack your baggage and leave this country. I'm talking about the diplomat here. And when you do that, you are sending a clear message.
But that's against international.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not against it at all. It's not. Look at what happened. Very recently, when the Russians were found culpable that they infringed into the American election, 80 of them overnight were sent packing. But the Russian embassy is still there. Okay. There are where you can send out your statement, and you are sending a message to a foreign country that if my people are not safe in your country, your people are also not safe here. We can as well end up our diplomatic relationship.
Okay, now Desmond Ugbo, some have said that the Nigerian legislative arm of our government now should kind of sponsor a bill, if possibly external bill, if there's anything like that, to kind of coerce the South African legislature to make a law that if you are caught attacking any foreigner, that you'll be dealt with it will be a criminal offense. Don't you think that may probably help the issue?
It will go further to help. Like they just mentioned, when Nigeria and South Africa, we have been into bilateral trade relations.
For years.
And are we also sure if we have that legal relationship by way of, if, for example, Nigeria commits any offense in South Africa, we can extradite such a person to Nigeria and be
fixed trial.
Making to fix trial, or South Africa in such reverse. I'm not sure. There is a parliament they call Africa Legislative Parliament. Nigeria has been very formidable in that parliament. I am very sure if Nigeria legislative arm now do a petition to that body, they will coerce South African legislators to also institute a legal framework.
But the question is how effective such parliament is on individual nations.
It will. It cannot be all encompassing all the countries. When Nigeria and South Africa sit down together, their parliament, they put these laws into place. The idea, not only Nigeria, that is in what a scenario now, it's not only Nigeria. Let there be an Africa coloration in whatever we are saying now. So it's not restricted to Nigeria alone. So, if, for example, he just mentioned that will it be normal if, for example, they repatriate some of our citizens and we allow their own to be living freely, comfortably, even when we know that there are some gray areas in the documents they are parading. On the 4th of March 2012, when Goodluck Jonathan was the president. They repatriated 18 Nigerians
Yes.
on a frivolous excuse
charges,
of
yes.
malaria
something, yes. We were very
Malaria
correct. Yes.
certificate.
Yes.
From where?
From South Africa. And we retaliated.
Within a trickle of about 3 days,
God bless you.
Goodluck Jonathan repatriated 84
God
of them.
bless you.
84 South
Of course.
Africa.
Of course.
And within a week or more, they came back with a written apology. They apologized to the
Yeah, but
country.
is that what we should be conversing
That's how it works.
for
You see,
international?
sometimes, if you use fire and it works in certain approach, you will be compelled to use fire
Again.
the second time again. But I am not encouraging fire to be used all the time. We should use diplomacy. Fine.
What if he
But
fails?
in such condition as the one they are constantly killing Nigerians like fowl, we expect fire for fire.
Now, Patrick, as a roundup, we've not heard anything from United Nations on this.
Well, again, it's Ugbo says something that is very important. It's very key to these things. Ugbo talk about sanction. That's very key. And our president is holding a very key position, okay, within the African context. He could reach out to other African countries, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and others. Say, listen, they are slaughtering our people.
Or even the AU.
We cannot accept this. Can we come together collectively to say enough is enough? If it ever happens again, none of you will do business with them. And any of you that does business with them will be sanctioned. Ugbo said that. And that's a key to this. And that can solve this issue. It might not be immediate, but it will go a long way. You know? You can't just leave it like that. And look at, even when you see the police, they are there when it's happening. Their claim is that we are taking their women. Their claim is that we are robbing them of their economy. I'm saying that the black national, they don't have up to 2% of the economy of South Africa.
Well, when you say the police are there, that is kind of...
But because we saw it happening, the clips are there.
It's a pedestrian.
The clips are there, it's reality. This is not something we're just saying
that's all
because we are
time
lying.
we permit us to take on this program. A very big thank you to Desmond Ugbo. Please extend a handshake to...
Thank you, I appreciate you all the time, brother. Thank you.
And we really don't need reprisal attack. Let's stay and let the authorities handle all this, and we will find peace in our nation. Please stay tuned.